Thank you for watching my video of easy Crackle paint tutorial. So it's really simple. All you're going to need is just acrylic paint. Now the acrylic paint you want to paint to see through the Crackle will be your base color. So just paint it here. I just sped it up so you won't tediously see me paint wood. This is wood. You can do it on chipboard, you can do it on paper. I've done it on plastic. Now you can either prime it with gesso or just do it straight up. I just did it straight up. So the color you're gonna put first is the color you want to peek through the gesso. So these are my two wood pieces that I'm painting here. And then you just let it air dry. Make sure you get all the corners so you won't see the wood under. Now I accidentally thought that I was recording how to actually do the process of the Crackle. So camera didn't record, so I had to do it again. This is paper, so it was good. I'm going to show you now how to do it on paper. Well, this is chipboard. So you're going to paint like I did with the two wood pieces that I had, Family and Love. Just paint the color you want on the bottom to peek through first. And you paint it all around. Make sure you get every single corner. You can do 2-3 coats. I haven't gone more than 3 coats because I just don't want it to take too long. And remember, you can either prime it or just paint it straight up. I just painted straight up because I was a little mad it didn't record. So wait for it to dry. That's just the paint I use. Any acrylic paint will do. And let me just get this here. So what you're going to do when it's completely dry, simple Elmer's glue or school glue. That is the paint I used under. And for the Elmer's glue, that'll be your Crackle medium, so to say. I use a sponge. Some people use brush. I don't think there's any difference on what you use to apply the glue with. So just put it all. Now, trick is when you apply it, you have to apply it going in one direction. You can't go back and forth like if you were painting. So you'll see me now here soon. Just pour a little bit out. If you need more, but start slow so you just won't waste. And again, Elmer's glue is super cheap. You can find it in any local department store, craft store, super economical. Now you're gonna paint it going in one direction. If you want it to go sideways, fine. If you want it to go up and down, perfect. Just make sure it's always in one direction. So take some and put it. Now trick is the thicker you want or the bigger you want the Crackle to be, the thicker you're going to put the glue. Now if you want the Crackle to be very small, very minute, then do it a thinner coat. Me, I'm just doing it all. I'm doing it thin and small so you can just see the difference. And again, if you need more glue, just get more. The sponge picks up more, but I feel it's more easier to apply. So just see, go all in one direction. Don't go back and forth. You start up and down, go back up and down. And just paint it all in one direction. Again, the thicker you want it, the bigger the Crackle, the thinner you have it, the smaller the Crackle. I hope that makes sense. Super easy, no big investment. Those acrylic paints are like sometimes 50 cents on sale. If not, I think the most I've seen it is like $2 maybe, plus tax. Local department store, craft store, school stores. And see, as you can see, the corner one, the right corner one, the long area, that's a little wider because I did it thicker. I think and again, you can put as many coats as you want. Just do it. Make sure you don't leave globs. I'm trying to clean up the little globby areas that I left. You can see them. And just always in one direction, not back and forth in either direction. And now you're gonna wait for it to dry a little. And once it starts to dry, it doesn't have to be completely dry. Don't wait till it completely dries. You're gonna take the color that you want to be on top of that blue. So the blue will show through the Crackle and the color on top will be the actual paint that's crackling. I use white because I'm going to use it for the cover of an album, which I'll show you at the end. So just take a little bit of the white acrylic paint. Again, same acrylic paint, cheap paint. You can find it anywhere, Michael Joann's, Hobby Lobby, Walmart, any department store. And again, paint it in one direction. Don't go back and forth with it Because if you go back and forth, it'll just mix in, and you don't want it to mix in. You want it to lay on top. So you don't have to be too gentle, but just don't push it down. Just lightly put it on top. And again, you can go thin. I recommend you go a little thick, not too thick, because if you go also too thin, you won't see much of a difference because it'll almost melt together. And again, just like you applied the glue, don't put too much pressure on this one though. Lightly, with the brush very wet, put your acrylic paint on top. This is just normal white acrylic, just like the blue one was. And look for any areas. Wait a second, see. Sometimes the glue will absorb a little of the paint, so if you didn't add much in one corner, you'll see it. But I think I won't apply anything more. And then it'll start, once the glue starts drying with the acrylic paint, that's when you'll see the crackle happen. These are just the ones I used here, the Elmer's glue, the acrylic paint. Now you can blow on it with a piece of paper. If you want to hurry it up a little, again, you can go and come back however you want to use it. But I've noticed that I use my heat gun. For some reason, the crackle, not only do you speed up the process, but you sort of see the crackle more. Like, I don't know, like for me, like the crackle just becomes more intense. So as you can see on the left side, it's starting to crackle. And here's my heat gun because I am very impatient. And wow, with the heat gun, you can see straight off the bat how those two sides really popped out. So as you can see the right side, the long right side, how you already see the crackle happening. And then look with the heat gun, how the left side is just completely coming together with that crackle. It's amazing. Now on the top bars, the top bar and the bottom bar, the long ones, I didn't put much glue on it. I left it a little thin. As you can see, it's crackling down, but it's more smaller, more finer. And as you can see, I left the sides thicker, and that's how you can see the crackles more thicker, more, you use just more chunkier. I don't know, I hope that makes sense. And again, just use your heat gun. Now remember, try to heat it as much as you can so you can dry it. Of course, you don't have to use a paper. You don't have to use a heat gun. You can just let it air dry. It makes no difference. I just don't like waiting. And here it is. So again, it's simple, cheap, quick, no big major things. I hope you can see my close-up. I'm off camera. I know, I'm so sorry. But as you can see, the difference in crackles. Just cheap Elmer's glue. Any school glue would do. It doesn't have to be Elmer's. Acrylic paint. Again, super awesome, cheap. This is the other acrylic paint. Remember, the color on the bottom is the one you want to show through, and the one on top is the one you're going to put second. That's going to be like the one that's crackling. And for the brushes, all I used was any brush I had. The sponge brush I used for the glue, but again, you can use a brush. Just remember to clean it up quick, because if not, it'll stick. And these are basically the items you need. Glue, acrylic paint, 2 cheap brushes, and a sponge brush. And if you don't have a sponge brush, then just 3 cheap brushes. Sometimes you get a pack of brushes at school supply for $5, even cheaper if you just buy them separately. And this is basically how I did the crackle. So now back to the chipboard. So wood letters. I wish it was chipboard. It would have been a lot lighter. So here I did that. Now I'm just drying it with the heat gun. And make sure you get all the corners. It's a little messy. You burn yourself with heat gun like I did. That's just the back. Make sure you also dry the back, because you just don't want anything sticking on in case you're going to use it now. And there's the other word. Make sure you get all those corners, because in the corners is where sometimes the paint and the glue sort of get all mushed up there, and it's like longer to dry. So just make sure you dry it completely and you get all those little corners, those yummy little corners, and don't burn your fingers like I'm doing. And if you want, just touch on it. And if you touch on it, you'll see in your hand if any paint transferred, then that means it's not dry. So keep going. Now don't put your glue gun to the heat gun close to your letters, because then you might turn it brown because it's burning. So word to the wise. And there we go. If you hear barking on the background, that's my little Fritzy. It's my little fur child barking when he shouldn't while I'm doing the voiceover. So I'm just touching, feeling, making sure everything is dry, nothing's wet or sticky. I don't want any transfer on my project. And I hope you can see how that crackle looks. I love it. Look at the family one. So this is like, they're very different. Please, it's such something that happens so organically, so naturally, so you're not going to have them completely the same, but that's the beauty of it. You don't have to have it the same. As you can see, the crackle's bigger, and the family, the crackle's a little finer, smaller. Beautiful. Work with it. Go for it. It's amazing. Look at that. I love how it looks. And you literally you pay for mediums that are like $4, $5, $6 the bottle to do the crackle medium, and it's just so simple to do it this way and quick. I mean, again, you can use your heat tool to do it. You can just use a fan. You can use a paper, or just let it dry one day to the other. And look at that crackle. See the difference? How one is larger and one is smaller. And again, they don't have to be the same. If you want, after a lot of practice, or after doing a couple of them, you can learn how to get the glue to a certain kind of level, or a certain kind of thickness, where it'll all be the same. I like how it looks sort of different. That's my preferable taste, but after doing it a couple of times, you'll get it. Now, you don't have to do this. This is how I just prepared it for my album cover. Till now, basically that's how you would do it. But just in case you're interested, I took some Perfect Pearls and put it in a spray bottle. Perfect Pearls is just a mica pigment, loose pigment, where powder, where you just use it. I put it in a spray bottle, cheap spray bottle. I got it, I think, at Target for $1. And then it's almost all the way up to the top of water. I took a little scoopful, maybe like I don't know, small little pea-size amount, put it in, shake it, always shake it because it will go down to the bottom, and just spray it. So I sprayed it on the chipboard. Be very lightly with this, because if you go a little too heavy-handed, like I almost did, it'll sort of like fuse it together and you won't see it much, and it'll just give it a nice sheen. I did it to the love, and I did it to family, and I hope you can see that on camera. I don't know if it's picking it up, but it just looks so pretty. It gives it that like little glowy, pearlescent kind of feel to it. And I just wanted to add a little bit of touch. That's just me wanting to do it to my wood words to put on top of the album, to give it something a little different to do. And make sure everything is dry, because I went a little heavy on the little spray bottle. So 1-2 squirts, that's all you need. If you mixed it up really well, won't need to put more spritz like I did, which were almost 5 or 6, and that's why it's still wet. Okay, and that's basically it. Now I'm going to show you how I just make the letter. You can leave it like this if you want to leave it like this, depending on what project you're going to do, or you can make it pop or stand out by using inks on the edges. Some people use markers, some people use inks, some people use watercolor. I like to use ink pads. Now I have this little ink pad here. They're super cheap. I got them at Michael's for, I think it was $1. And you can use it. I'm trying it on the back to see if I like it. It's a little too intense. So I said, I love vintage. I love shabby chic. So let me get my distress ink. So I'm gonna get the distress ink. Oh, this is me just showing you how many different colors you can get. I got them all, I think, for $1 at Michael's. You can get them in, I think I've seen them in Joann's, super cheap. Don't have to go expensive. As long as you dry them, they're super awesome. And I'm gonna show you, I got my distress ink in, I think it's Vintage Photo. Yes, Vintage Photo. And I'm just going to ink the edges just to make the chipboard pop out from the page. Again, depending on your project, on how you're going to do it, you can leave it like it is now, or you can do this, which is just adding some kind of contrast color to the edges. So when you put it on your project, it'll stand out. Again, depending on what you're doing. So I just took a little sponge that I have. I got about a bag of these different assorted sizes years ago, and I've been using them. Now they're deteriorating. I'm gonna show you soon because I used it on something that I shouldn't have, that had a lot of little things on it, so it's a little worn. And so I'm just gonna use this as a dabber. I'm gonna put it on the ink and then just go around the edges, which I'm gonna show you now. Let me just open this up. And now don't swish it back and forth. Don't like I was trying to do, and then I remembered, because you might take off a little bit of the crackle that you've made. Not much, but just in case there is a part that's still wet or something. So sort of dab it in the edges. And I hope if you can see, it's giving it this sort of old distressed look in the corners, like when a paint's already starting to turn brownish, yellowish, because it's old, it's frayed. Maybe the sun has hit it or something like that. So just make sure you get all the edges. I like using these little dabbers. They're so inexpensive. You must have seen them in your department stores and your craft stores. I don't remember where I got it. It was so long ago, but I've got different assorted sizes. I could have taken the small one and also gone through the little small areas, but this big one was working just fine. Make sure you get all the edges, all the corners. And again, if you didn't get all the edges, all the corners, it's distressed look. It's an old look. It's crackled paint. So you don't have to be precise, because when something's weathering, something's getting old, it won't be symmetrical or the same or identical. It'll weather here. The sun will hit it harder here. So it's not always going to be the same in every corner. And that's perfectly fine. And again, for me in crafting, there's no errors. Something didn't happen the way you want it, mix it up, do something different, take that and go with it. I mean, sometimes the best inventions came from the biggest mistakes. So there you go here. And I like the way it's looking. Just doing a little touch up here and there. Now on the edges of the V and the E on top, it didn't take too much of the white, but I'll fix that later. As you can see, it's a lot of blue. And there we go. And then just do the same to family. I love how the family one came out, because I like the small crackle. But again, didn't come out the way I wanted it with the word love, but it's still nice. It doesn't have to be the same. Get all those edges. And this is, I think the biggest investment I did here, because I already had the distress ink. I already had the inks, I already had the glue, and I had everything. I think the biggest investment here was just the wooden letters of family and love, which I think in Michael's, I think it cost me $2 each, $3 each, something like that. Please don't quote me, I don't remember. But that was the biggest investment. Usually everyone already has glue. Again, I used Elmer's. Doesn't have to be Elmer's. Cheap school glue, that'll do it. And acrylic paint, that's let's say Elmer's glue, let's put it big, $2, depending on the size of the bottle. Acrylic paint's $1 each. You can probably find it $1.50. I use 2 colors. You need 2 colors. Let's say $1, $3. You already have 2 and 3, $5. That's it. And then any inks that you have, if you want to do a little touch here and there, and that's about it. You don't need anything else for the crackle. The inks, the perfect pearls, the spray, that's just add-ons depending on how you want to use your project. And I'm just here, I saw some spots that were too white, so just to give it a little bit more of an antique look, I'm just dabbing on, looking at it, see what looks too light, see what I can still distress. I don't also want to distort the white and turn it into brown, because then for that I just would have used a beige or brown acrylic paint on top. And that's about it. Now you can also still use the blue, because I'm extra and I feel like I haven't added enough. I'm using here a little bit of blue, just to distress it, just to change it up. A little blue here, a little blue there. And just dab it. If you think you went a little too hard on one side, then just smear it with your fingers. You don't have to worry about it. See, like I'm like, oop, oh yeah. And that's it. Now I found that there was a part where it's too blue. Too blue. So what I did is I'm going to take my acrylic paint now, the white one, and with my finger, you don't have to dirty your brushes again. I'm going to fix that real soon. Just now. Dry this up. Make sure that the paint you added on top is dry, so it just won't mix up in case you're using your projects. You're going to do it on your project now. And just dry it. And this is the part where it says, on top of love, on top of the E and the V, it's a little too blue, so I'm just going to add a little bit more of white. Just because I'm so OCD, I'm CDO. And basically it's in an area where when you put it on your project, it's probably going to get covered up anyway. But I thought it was a little too blue. Just fixing little spots here and there in family where I see that it's also like a little bit of blue popped up. Fixing it here, fixing it there. That one came out when I pressed it. I took a little bit of the white acrylic paint off of it. And again, this is just a way of showing you that nothing's final. Things can be fixed. Things can be altered. All you have to do is just to taste. And whoa, I really went good on that white paint. Sorry, I'm off camera. Tried to do my best, but I'm not tech savvy. And am I going back to the white? No, good. And just dry it up again. Make sure there's no transfer to your project. If not, again, just let it be. Let it air dry. You don't have to use a heat gun. You don't have to have a heat gun. I'm a crafter, so I just have one. And just dry up the area. Again, don't put your heat tool too close to the area because it will get like a brown burnish stain. But since I already just stressed it with vintage photo, it doesn't matter. It's already browned and burnt. And there we go. And that is it. I hope you liked it. Oh, here I go again with the dabber. I'm like, please, someone take that away from me. Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Done? I'm done? Good. Okay. So yes, finally, here is the finished product. And I hope you guys liked it. I just wanted to show that I've been looking at so many videos on YouTube, seeing all these Crackle paints and mediums and stuff. And again, if you want to go high end and you want to buy it, go for it. Perfect. But if you just want to go cheap or you don't have the budget, you don't need a lot of budget for it. And it's so simple to use, no hard steps. I try to simplify it as much as I can. And this is just a little close up. I hope you can see the sheen on it from the perfect pearls. And yes, I hope you liked it. And just in case you were curious to see what is the project I'm working on, I am making a wedding album for a coworker that just got married recently, and I want to make him a little mini album for him and now his wife. This is a cover, so this is what the wooden letters are for. And I probably will arrange it like that. I think the letters are too big for the cover, but there's always happy little accidents. And something like that. So that's why I made it white. And with a little bit of vintage photo distress ink on top because it's beige. And the blue because it has blue trimming in it. And this is just the album. In case you were curious, if you'd like a tutorial, just leave the comment below and I can show you a tutorial on how I make my albums. That's the binding. I'm all up to 1 page. I want to make it interactive so you can open it in different areas. Make sure I don't rip it. And it's just like that. So if you're interested in the tutorial on this, just leave a comment. If you like my video on how to do simple, easy Crackle paint on chipboard, wooden letters, leave a like. And if you want more videos like this, just let me know. Thank you so much, so much for watching my video. And I hope you liked it. Easy, quick, and above all, cheap. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Salah.